I was inexplicably bound to something called the Childhood Friends Never Lose system, and my mission was to troll Maya Rodriguez at every opportunity. But every time I followed the system's orders, not only did she not get mad, her smile just got sweeter. The system kept alerting me that her affection levels were skyrocketing. I was completely lost. This wasn't how the script was supposed to go. I was standing in a corner by the windows in the school library, my fingers unconsciously picking at the edge of a bookshelf. Sunlight streamed through the glass, landing on Maya and turning her long, dark hair a warm shade of brown. She was sitting at a long table with Ethan Hayes, her head bent low as they discussed something. Ethan was the new transfer student who'd shown up last month. Good grades, great looks. He'd instantly become the center of attention for every girl in school. But the way he was smiling at Maya right now made my chest feel tight for some reason. New mission. In a public setting, publicly mess up the target Maya Rodriguez's hair to ruin her image. The system's voice in my head was emotionless, like a cold machine. I couldn't help but curse under my breath. What kind of messed up mission was that? Maya and I had grown up together. We'd known each other since we were in diapers. But ever since I got stuck with this stupid system, I've been forced to do all sorts of ridiculous things to her. The system claimed that if I completed all the missions, I could stop the hot new guy from stealing her away. But I was starting to think this system was just screwing with me. Taking a deep breath, I strode toward them. My sneakers squeaked softly on the polished library floor. A few students looked up, their eyes filled with curiosity. Ethan noticed me first and offered a polite smile. Maya turned her head, and her eyes lit up. "Liam, what are you doing here?" Her voice was soft, like it was coated in honey. I didn't answer. I just reached out and plunged my hand into her hair. My fingers sank into soft strands, and I scrubbed hard. Her carefully styled hair instantly became a messy nest, with a few stray wisps falling across her forehead. The library fell dead silent. Ethan's smile froze on his face, his eyes wide behind his glasses. The students around us gasped, and someone covered their mouth. Maya was stunned, her eyelashes fluttering. I braced myself for her to get angry, to shove me away, but she just reached up, smoothed down her messy hair, and then looked up at me. From an angle no one else could see, the corner of her mouth curved into a mischievous grin. "Feeling an itch, Liam?" she whispered, her voice laced with amusement. She wasn't annoyed at all. She looked like she was indulging a naughty kid. At the same time, the system in my head went haywire. Warning! Host trolling behavior has triggered an accelerated heartbeat in the target. Affection value +10. Please maintain a proper attitude and continue your efforts. I almost let a swear word fly. This stupid system had to be broken. I was actively trying to ruin her image. How was that increasing her affection for me? Ethan snapped out of it, frowning. "Hey, Carter, that's not cool." But Maya beat him to it, waving a hand. "It's fine. We mess around like this all the time." She winked at me, then started packing up her books. "Come on, Liam, I'm starving." She casually grabbed my wrist and nodded goodbye to Ethan. I let her drag me out of the library, the system still chattering in my head. Current accumulated affection value, 30. Please maintain the current trolling frequency. Maintain my ass. I stared at the back of Maya's head, my mind a tangled mess. What was with this girl? Once we were outside the library, Maya finally let go of my wrist. She stood under the shade of a tree, slowly and deliberately pulling her hair back into a neat ponytail. "So, what was today's mission?" she asked suddenly, making my heart skip a beat. "What mission?" I said, trying to act casual. She turned to face me, her eyes curving into crescents. "Every time you do something weird to me out of the blue, it's a system mission, right?" A chill went down my spine. For a second, I thought she actually knew about the system. But then she burst out laughing. "Just kidding. You look so tense." She reached out and poked my arm. "You've been acting really weird lately, though. Always trying to pick a fight with me." I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding, but I was even more confused now. The system had explicitly stated that the mission details were top secret. There was no way she could know. But her reaction was just too bizarre. Logically, any girl would be furious if someone messed up her hair in front of everyone. But she acted like it was just another Tuesday, even seeming to enjoy it. "Hello, Earth to Liam." Maya waved a hand in front of my face. I grabbed her wrist. "You're not mad." She tilted her head. "About what? It's not like this is the first time you've acted like a 5-year-old. She leaned in closer, lowering her voice. Besides, the look on Ethan's face was priceless. Like he'd just seen an alien. The faint scent of jasmine from her hair drifted over, making my heart stumble over itself. The system's prompt was right on cue. Target in close proximity. Affection value +5. I yanked my hand back and took half a step away from her. This damn system was definitely infected with a virus. Maya raised an eyebrow. What? I can't even touch you now. She deliberately stepped closer, and I instinctively dodged. I'm not dodging. It's just hot out, I muttered, pulling at the collar of my shirt and pretending to look at something in the distance. She chuckled softly and didn't tease me anymore. Come on, let's go to the cafeteria. I'll buy you some sliders. She turned and walked ahead, her skirt swaying slightly. I stared after her, alarm bells screaming in my head. This whole situation was spiraling completely out of my control. I thought this was just a simple mission to keep her from being stolen away, but now, her every reaction was completely unexpected. The system was already listing new tasks in my brain. Remaining tasks for today: steal the sliders from the target's lunch, add hot sauce to her water bottle, hide her favorite pen. What kind of diabolical tasks were these? I couldn't help but ask the system, are these missions really going to improve her opinion of me? The system replied coldly. This system utilizes the latest algorithms, tested and proven to increase the victory rate for childhood friends. But her affection value was rising, and I hadn't seen any sign of a victory. If anything, I felt like a monkey being played for a fool. I caught up to Maya, who was humming a song while scrolling through her phone. For a split second, I saw something that looked like a game interface on her screen, but she quickly locked it and waved the phone at me. What are you looking at? Got a crush on me or something? I scoffed. Get over yourself. But deep down, I felt a strange sense of unease. I had a feeling I was missing a very important detail. The cafeteria was buzzing with noise as we sat down our usual spot. Maya opened her lunchbox, which was neatly packed with rice, veggies, and 5 golden brown sliders. Her mom's sliders were legendary, crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside, and they smelled amazing. I stared at those mini burgers, my conscience at war with itself. The system urged me on. Please execute the mission immediately. Steal the sliders from the target's lunchbox. This mission was so childish, like a prank you'd pull in elementary school. But the system warned, refusal to execute will result in a deduction of points. If points reach 0, the system will unbind, and the target will be stolen by the new guy. The image of Ethan laughing with Maya flashed in my mind, and a wave of irritation washed over me. In a flash, I reached over, snatched one of the sliders, and stuffed it into my mouth. Maya's fork froze mid-air, her eyes wide. Liam, are you robbing me? She exclaimed, her cheeks puffed out like an angry chipmunk. I mumbled through a mouthful of food. You just made them look so good. I had to try one. I was fully prepared for her to blow up. But after a few seconds of staring, she suddenly pushed the entire lunchbox toward me. If you wanted some, you should have just said so. You can have them all. She rested her chin in her hand, watching me with a gentle look in her eyes. I nearly choked on the slider. This was not the right reaction. The system chimed in. Target's sharing behavior has triggered affection value +15. I was completely and utterly baffled. Stealing her food gets me more points? Maya proceeded to move the other 4 sliders in my tray. Eat slowly, don't choke. She even gave me half of her salad. You need a balanced diet. She gave me a little wink. I looked down at the mountain of food on my tray, a complicated mix of feelings churning inside me. I should have been happy about completing the mission, but all I felt was guilt. She was being so nice to me, and here I was, plotting ways to mess with her all day. Is it not good? Maya asked, tilting her head. It's good, I mumbled. It was delicious, but left a bitter taste in my mouth. She smiled, her eyes curving like bridges. Well, next time you want some, just ask. You don't have to steal them. As she spoke, she reached out and wiped a smudge of ketchup from the corner of my mouth. The warm touch of her fingertips sent a jolt through me, and my whole body went rigid. The system went wild. Target's intimate contact, affection value +20, current total 70, warning, abnormal value detected. I thought it was abnormal too. This girl was acting way too strange today. I grabbed her wrist, frowning. Maya, are you okay? She blinked innocently. What would be wrong with me? You're being too cooperative, I said bluntly. She pulled her hand back with a light laugh. Because it's you. Those 3 words felt like a feather brushing against my heart. I stared at her, trying to find any crack in her expression, but she just went back to eating her lunch as if she'd said nothing important at all. The system was analyzing in my head. Target's behavior does not align with standard reactions. Host is advised to remain vigilant. You don't have to tell me twice. I picked up my food for the rest of lunch, my mind elsewhere. After we finished, Maya said she was going to the vending machines and told me to head back to class. Watching her skip away, I fell into deep thought. I had to figure out what game she was playing. 4. During the break between afternoon classes, I was trying to figure out the system's angle when Ethan Hayes walked up to my desk. He handed me a pink envelope. Could you please give this to Maya? He asked. He looked serious, but the tips of his ears were slightly red. I held the envelope. An alarm bell screamed in my head. A love letter. The system immediately issued a new mission. Intercept the new guy's love letter and alter its contents. Altering a love letter. These tasks were getting more and more shameless. But when I imagined the look on Maya's face after reading it, I found myself nodding. I'll make sure she gets it. Ethan thanked me and left. I took the letter to a bathroom stall and ripped it open. The contents were so cheesy they gave me goosebumps. Stuff like, your smile is like the sun that brightens my world, and I hope we can watch the stars together someday. The system offered a suggestion for the alteration, recommendation, replaced with a collection of bad jokes. Where did this system get its weird sense of humor? Still, I did as it said. I erased all the sappy lines and replaced them with a bunch of dad jokes I found online. Things like, why was the math book sad? Because it had too many problems. And why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. I started laughing myself as I wrote them. This wasn't a love letter anymore. It was a comedy routine. After sealing it back up, I found Maya and handed it to her. This is from Ethan. She took the envelope, raising an eyebrow. Did you read it? I guiltily looked away. Who don't read it? Class is about to start. She smiled and opened it up, her eyes scanning the page. I watched her nervously, waiting for her reaction. I expected her to be angry or confused. Instead, her shoulders started to shake, and then she burst out laughing. What is this? She was laughing so hard that tears started to form in her eyes. I scratched my head. Is it not funny? It's hilarious, she said, wiping her eyes. I had no idea Ethan was this funny. She waved the letter at me. Do you want to see? I quickly shook my head. Her smile faded slightly, replaced by a thoughtful look. But you know, this doesn't really sound like something he would write. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at me. Liam, don't tell me you changed it. No way. My voice was a little too loud. She leaned in, studying my face, then reached out and pinched my cheek. Your ears are red. I slapped her hand away. It's hot in here. She didn't press the issue, just folded the letter and put it in her pocket. Well, whoever wrote it, it's pretty clever. She turned and headed back to class, a spring in her step. I stood there, stunned, as the system chimed in my head. Mission complete. Target is in a pleasant mood. Affection value plus 25, current total 95. You got to be kidding me. What shocked me even more was what I saw after school. Maya and Ethan were talking in the hallway. She handed the letter back to him and said something. Ethan's expression shifted from hopeful to utterly bewildered. I crept closer and heard Maya say, "Thanks, you're a really nice guy, but I think Liam is more interesting." I almost tripped over my own feet. What did she just say? Ethan managed a weak smile and walked away. Maya turned and saw me, completely unsurprised. Eavesdropping isn't a good habit, you know. She walked over and poked my chest. But since you helped me swat a fly, I'll forgive you. I grabbed her finger. Who said I helped you swat a fly? She pulled her hand back with a smirk. Stop pretending. That was the whole point of changing the letter, wasn't it? I was speechless. How did she know everything? The system's alarm blared in my head. Warning. Target may be aware of mission content. Host is advised to proceed with caution. A little late for that now. There was definitely something up with this girl. 5. For the next few days, I continued to carry out the system's bizarre missions while keeping a close eye on Maya. I made faces at her from the audience while she was giving a speech. She saw me and burst out laughing mid-sentence, but still managed to finish strong. Afterward, she ran up to me and asked, "Why was your face so twisted up while I was speaking? Did you have a stomachache?" I had no reply. I used her favorite lipstick as a crayon and scribbled on a piece of paper. When she found it, she wasn't angry at all. Instead, she took a picture and posted it to her Instagram story with the caption, "Exclusive abstract art. Not for sale." The system informed me that her affection value was still climbing, now soaring past 150. I was more certain than ever that something was seriously wrong. That afternoon, I saw Maya talking to Ethan on the athletic fields after school. They were standing close, and I couldn't tell what they were talking about. An unfamiliar sense of irritation bubbled up inside me. The system issued a new directive: approach and interrupt their conversation, then lead the target away. I hesitated, but then I saw Ethan reach out as if to touch Maya's hair. My body moved before my brain could think. I strode over and grabbed Maya's wrist. "We're leaving." She looked at me in surprise. "What's wrong?" I ignored her and just started pulling her away. I couldn't hear what Ethan was yelling behind us. Maya half-jogged to keep up, her wrist warm in my hand. It wasn't until we were behind the main school building that I finally let her go. She rubbed her wrist, an eyebrow raised. "Getting a little jealous, are we, Liam?" I choked. "Who's jealous? It was on my way." She laughed softly and took a step closer. "On your way? Is that why you were holding on so tight?" I backed up until my back hit the brick wall. She placed her hands on the wall on either side of me, trapping me. She looked up, her face close to mine. "Liam, you've been acting so weird lately." My heart was pounding against my ribs. "How am I weird?" "You're always doing things to get my attention," she said, her eyes shining brightly. "Like a little kid who pulls the pigtails of the girl he likes." My throat felt dry. "You're imagining things." But she wouldn't let it go. "Or maybe you're on some kind of secret mission." She whispered the last few words, her voice like a feather tickling my ear. My entire body went rigid. She knew. How could she possibly know? The system's alarm was screaming in my head. "Warning, the target may be aware of the system's existence. Terminate conversation immediately." I wanted to, but I couldn't move. Maya stared at me for a long moment, then suddenly pulled back. "Just messing with you. You look terrified." She turned and walked back toward the classrooms, her steps light and carefree. I slid down the wall and sat on the ground, my back drenched in a cold sweat. That was too close. I had almost spilled everything. The system offered a calm analysis. Target's behavior is abnormal, suggesting a potential counter-routine tendency. Counter-routine? What did that mean? The system explained. Analysis indicates the target is generating positive feedback in response to the host's trolling behavior. It is possible she is bound to a similar, opposing system, such as a counter-routine strategy system. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Maya had a system too. So that's why she was never angry, why she always played along. What kind of crazy plot twist was this? The system continued. This system and a counter-routine system are in direct competition. If the target causes the host to fall for her first, this system's mission will be considered a failure. So I was the one being played this whole time. Thinking back on all the affection value notifications, it suddenly hit me. Those numbers weren't measuring Maya's affection. They were measuring mine. Why didn't this stupid system tell me that from the start? That weekend, our class organized a trip to a state park. On the bus, Maya sat down next to me without even asking. She offered me an earbud. "Want to listen?" I hesitated for a second before taking it. A cheerful pop song, one of her favorites, filled my ear. She leaned against the window, the sunlight casting soft shadows from her eyelashes onto her cheeks. When she was quiet like this, she looked incredibly sweet. But I knew it was all an act. This girl was a schemer, through and through. "Liam," she said suddenly. "Yeah, if you found out one day that I was lying to you about something, would you be mad?" I turned to look at her. Her expression was serious. She wasn't joking. "Depends on the lie," I said. She smiled faintly but didn't say anything else. As the bus swayed, she gradually leaned over and fell asleep on my shoulder. Her hair tickled my neck. I didn't push her away. I just let her rest there. The system was completely silent. No new missions, no notifications. It was probably busy running calculations. We arrived at the park and broke off into groups. Maya naturally stuck with me. Ethan tried to join our group, but she politely turned him down. "I just want to hang out with Liam today," she said, giving me a quick wink. My heart did a little flip, and I cursed myself for being so weak. As we walked along a tree-lined path, She kept bending down to pick wildflowers. Soon, she had a small bouquet of daisies in her hand and was humming an off-key tune. "So, Liam, what kind of person do you like?" she asked out of nowhere. I looked at her warily. "Why are you asking?" "Just curious," she said, tucking a daisy behind her ear. "Tell me." I gave a random answer. "Someone quiet. Low maintenance." She raised an eyebrow. So, the complete opposite of me. She had a point. She was loud, energetic, and always causing some kind of trouble for me. But the thought of her being quiet and low maintenance just felt wrong. "You're fine the way you are," I mumbled. Her eyes lit up. "Is that a compliment?" "I guess." She grinned and shoved the bouquet of daisies into my hands. "A reward for you." I held the little wildflowers, an inexplicable warmth spreading through my chest. The system suddenly chimed in. Host's accelerated heartbeat detected. "Please control your emotions." I took a deep breath and pushed the flowers back at her. "You hold them." She wasn't offended. She just skipped ahead, the sunlight filtering through the leaves and dappling her in patterns of light and shadow. For a fleeting moment, I thought that maybe things being just like this wouldn't be so bad. But I quickly shook the thought away. The mission wasn't over. I couldn't let my guard down, even if I had no idea who was playing whom anymore. The class trip ended with a big barbecue around a bonfire. Maya insisted on grilling, but she ended up burning all the chicken wings. She held one out to me, looking pitiful. I think I messed them up. I looked at the blackened wing and sighed, taking the tongs from her. "Just sit down and wait, Your Highness." She giggled and sat next to me, resting her chin in her hands as she watched me work. The firelight flickered across her face, making her features glow. "You know, Liam," she said suddenly, "your future girlfriend is going to be really lucky." My hand slipped, and I sprinkled too much pepper on the chicken. "Why do you say that?" "Because you're really good at taking care of people," she said softly. "You always act tough, but you're actually really thoughtful." I kept my head down, flipping the chicken wings, my ears burning. Why was she saying all this weird stuff today? System prompt. Target's words appear to be strategic. Host is advised to remain vigilant. A little late for that. I was already pretty much conquered. I handed her a perfectly grilled wing. She took a bite, and her eyes lit up. "Delicious." She then held the wing up to my mouth. "You try." I stared at the bite marks she'd left, hesitated for a second, and then took a bite from the other side. "It was good." She smiled, pulled her hand back, and casually finished the wing. It took my brain a second to catch up and realize we'd just indirectly kissed. My heart started hammering against my ribs. The system's alarm went off. "Warning. Host's emotional fluctuations are extreme. Please calm down immediately." Calm down. How could anyone calm down in this situation? Maya tilted her head. "Your face is really red. Are you hot?" I stood up abruptly. "I'm gonna go get some drinks." I fled the scene, standing by the cooler and forcing myself to take deep breaths. I had to end this. Either I complete the mission or I get this system unbound from me. Any longer, and I was going to be the one to break. When I got back, the group was playing Truth or Dare. Maya had just been picked, and everyone was shouting out questions. "Maya, what's your type?" someone yelled. I stopped in my tracks, my hand tightening around a can of soda. Maya sat in the middle of the circle, the firelight dancing on her profile. She looked up, and her eyes found mine across the fire. A familiar, sly smile spread across her face. "I like guys who are a little clueless," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the campsite. "For example, the kind of guy who would secretly scare off someone bothering me, but pretend he just tripped and spilled his drink on them by accident." The can of soda slipped from my hand and clattered loudly on the ground. The entire group went silent and turned to look at me. I stared at Maya, frozen. She was talking about something that happened yesterday. A guy from another class was pestering her, so I'd accidentally spilled water all over him to make him leave. I hadn't told a soul. How did she know? Maya just smiled at me, a knowing look in her eyes. A piercing alarm blared in my head. "Warning, high-dimensional system fluctuations detected from target, suspected. Static, counter-routine strategy system. Host identity compromise, risk it 100%. System will now." The voice cut out, followed by dead silence. I lunged forward, grabbed Maya's wrist, and pulled her away from the fire and into the nearby woods. She looked up at me, her eyes as bright as stars. "Because I have a system too," she said softly, holding up her phone. The screen was lit up, displaying an interface that looked exactly like the one that had been in my head. And what a coincidence, she continued, a grin spreading across her face. Mine is called the Counter-Routine Strategy System. The mission, she said, her eyes sparkling, was to make the idiot who thought he was playing me fall in love with me first. I stared at her, my mind a complete blank. What did you say? I said, I have a system, too, Maya repeated, waving her phone. The interface was identical to mine, but the name was different. Frowny face, Counter-Routine Strategy. My mission was to make the idiot who thought he was playing me fall in love with me first. She tilted her head, a triumphant smile on her face. And from the looks of it, mission accomplished. My brain short-circuited. So all this time, the affection value. It was yours, Maya confirmed, as if reading my mind. Every time you completed one of your ridiculous missions, your own affection value went up. My system was just collecting the data. She put her phone away, clasping her hands behind her back. Liam, you gave yourself away from the very beginning. The first time you messed up my hair, she continued, who tries to be a jerk while their ears are bright red? I subconsciously reached up and touched my ear. And every mission you did was so forced, she went on, perfectly mimicking my awkward expression. You wouldn't look me in the eye, and you'd run away the second you were done. Like a little kid who stole a cookie and was afraid of getting caught. I felt a flush of embarrassment and anger. So you've just been playing me this whole time? I wouldn't call it playing, she said, blinking innocently. I'd call it cooperative acting. After all, my mission score depended on how well you completed yours. I thought back on everything. Stealing her sliders, changing the letter, making faces. Her abnormal reaction to every single thing. It wasn't a system malfunction. It was all part of her plan. So you and Ethan, that was just to make you jealous, she admitted freely. My system said a little competition can stimulate the target's feelings. Looks like it worked. I gritted my teeth. Maya, you're ruthless. She just stepped closer. Are you mad? Under the moonlight, her eyes were shining. I looked away. No. Yes, you are, she said, poking my chest. So what are you going to do now? Your mission failed. Your system is gone. So, I mumbled. So, there are no more missions, she pressed. Does that mean you're not going to come near me anymore? She asked the question so softly, it was barely a whisper. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. She waited a moment, then turned away, a hint of disappointment in her voice. Fine. On pure instinct, I grabbed her wrist. I will. She stopped. Even without the missions, I said, taking a deep breath. Without the missions, it's even better. She turned back to me slowly. What does that mean? It means I've wanted to do this for a long time. I leaned down and kissed her. She was softer than I imagined, and she tasted faintly of jasmine. She froze for a second before kissing me back, her fingers gently gripping the hem of my shirt. The moonlight stretched our shadows long on the ground until they merged into one. It felt right. When we pulled apart, we were both a little breathless. Her cheeks were flushed, but her eyes were impossibly bright. Was that part of your mission too? She whispered. No, I said, resting my forehead against hers. That was just Liam wanting to kiss Maya. It had nothing to do with any system. She smiled and rested her head on my shoulder. If I'd known it was this easy, I never would have bothered with a system. I wrapped my arms around her. Me neither. In the distance, we heard our classmates shouting for us. Time to head back. We answered in unison, and, without thinking, our hands found each other. As we walked back toward the bonfire, she suddenly asked, Is your system really gone? I focused inward. My mind was completely quiet. Yeah, totally gone. Mine too. She held up her phone, where the system interface was slowly fading away, dissolving into faint sparkles of light. I guess when a mission's over, they automatically unbind. So we're free. I asked. I guess so, she said, squeezing my hand. But there's one thing I need to confirm. What? She stopped and turned to face me. Now that there's no system, do you still like me? I looked at her earnest expression and couldn't resist teasing her. What if I said no? Her eyes narrowed. Then I just have to buy a new system and find a new target. I immediately tightened my grip on her, pulling her closer. Don't even think about it. She burst out laughing. Jealous boy. On the bus ride home, we sat together again. This time, she leaned her head on my shoulder and fell asleep, her fingers intertwined with mine. I saw a few of her classmates smile knowingly, and I just smiled back. It was already dark when we got back to town. I walked her home. She lingered at the entrance to her apartment building, not wanting to go inside. See you tomorrow? I asked, ruffling her hair. This time I meant it. She nodded. See you tomorrow. But she didn't move. Something else. She suddenly stood on her toes, gave me a quick kiss on the cheek, and darted inside. Good night, she called from the stairwell. I touched the spot on my cheek where she'd kissed me and couldn't stop smiling all the way home. Lying in bed that night, replaying the day's events, it all felt like a dream. My phone buzzed. A text from Maya. You home safe? Just got here. I typed back. Thinking of you. I stared at those 3 words, my heart feeling full to bursting. Me too. What do you want for breakfast tomorrow? Sliders. I replied, just to mess with her. Hey, she sent back, along with an angry face emoji. My mom's making sandwiches tomorrow. Want me to bring you one? Okay. It's a date then. Yep. The conversation paused. I thought she might have fallen asleep, but just as I was about to put my phone down, the screen lit up again. Liam. Yeah? Today was a really good day. Me too. Better than completing all the missions. I smiled at her message, my heart melting. From now on, every day will be this good. You said it. Cross my heart. Good. After he said goodnight, I stared at the ceiling, thinking maybe the system hadn't been all bad. At the very least, it gave me the push I needed. The next morning, I was waiting for her downstairs. She came bouncing out, wearing a new dress and holding a lunchbox. Your sandwich, she announced. Thanks. I took it from her and naturally took her hand. Her ears turned a little pink. So forward today, she teased. Didn't we make a deal? I said, swinging our joined hands. This is how it is now. No missions required. She smiled, and the morning sun lit up her face, making her look almost unreal. As we approached the school gate, we saw Ethan. He froze for a second when he saw us holding hands. Then a look of understanding crossed his face, followed by a genuine smile. Congratulations, he said to me. I nodded. Thanks. Maya waved to him. Morning, Ethan. Morning, he replied, his gaze flickering between us before he turned and walked away. I think he's finally given up, Maya whispered. He should have given up a long time ago, I said, squeezing her hand tighter. The moment we walked into class, we caused a small commotion. A few friends whistled and cheered. Finally, someone shouted. Maya didn't miss a beat. Yep, she confirmed, leading to another round of applause. All day, we were inseparable. After school, I took her for a walk by the creek in the local park. The setting sun turned the water to gold. You know, I like you for a long time, she said suddenly as we sat on a bench. Way before the system showed up. I turned to her. Since when? I'm not telling, she said with a sly grin. Let me guess. Was it in middle school, when I got in a fight for you? Nope. High school, when I stayed late to help you clean the classroom? Nope. Don't tell me it was in elementary school, when I stole your eraser. She laughed. Even earlier. I was shocked. Kindergarten. She nodded. When you shared your candy with me. I try to remember, but it was a blur. That happened. Of course you don't remember, she pouted. But I do. I thought this boy is really nice. I want to be with him forever. My heart swelled. I pulled her into a hug. Well, you got your wish. She leaned against my shoulder. That night, she sent me another text. I looked back at my system's data logs before it disappeared. And? Your affection value hit 100 the day you changed Ethan's letter. She sent a winking emoji. You fell first, Liam Carter. I won. I smiled, typing my reply. Yeah, you did. And I had never been happier to lose.